Hello guys, hope you are doing fine. Today we will be discussing on dynamic sharding. But before talking on dynamic sharding, which is a very important part on system design, we will go to the cons of uh, traditional sharding technique, which we achieve with partition function. So the main thing is, in case of partition function, the last class we have seen that if we add more database, suppose we got 3 database server over here in this picture, and if we want to add another one, the 4 database, then we have to update our partition function, because this partition function talks about hash of the keys, and we are getting the remainder using number of DB servers. So in this case, the number of DB servers is 3, but when another DB server comes into the picture, the number will be 4. And not only that, if the results of a certain key which we are going for calculation of remainder using number of DB servers, assuming number of DB servers 3, the result is going to be different for the same key when the number of DB server is 4. That means it demands for remapping our machines, remapping our database. That means the few contents from here will go to another location, right? So this remapping will be taking some time, which is going to be a critical portion of this sharding, traditional sharding technique. And that might create huge problem, because when we are doing remapping, at that time, that server is going to be unavailable. So to get rid of that scenario, that issue, to get rid of that problem, we can have 2 options in our hand. The first option is, if we really want to stuck with the traditional mapping or traditional sharding technique, which we achieve through our partition function, then we have to create a database which is going to be a clone of this database. Suppose we are going for remapping of server number 1. So we need to create a clone of server number 1 where we won't do any write operation. Write operation will be restricted, only read operation will be done from this server, this clone server. And this server will be in maintenance. So that's kind of technical, that's kind of a headache we need to do, but that can be, that we can get rid of from dynamic sharding technique. In dynamic sharding technique, what we do here, we introduce a new entity, which is locator service. In the locator service, we have some content or table which is containing the 2 things. One is the key sections or key range, you can say. Another one is the designated machine number. So for an example, if any keys which belongs to 0 to 33, for an example, 25 is the key number, that key is going to be mapped with that key is going to be addressed by, the database. First database number 1. 34 to 95, for an example, there is another key which is 75, is going to be catered by database number 2. Similarly, 111, this key is going to be catered by, database number 3. So the question is, if in this way actually we can proceed, we have some positive sides as well. Suppose we are going to add a new server, then we just need to update this, table, right? That this is the new key range, and this new key range is going to be addressed by database number 4, and that has that information. Locator service has that information. Our this service, which is mainly facing to our client section or client component, which is close to our client component, this service is going to query on the location service, and location service is going to give him a return of the correct database server number, and he can make the call. Now the question is, if we don't do like that, if we just allow our locator service to call the things accordingly, there is a problem. That problem is single point of failure. Now this location service, if it is failed, if it gets failed, then the whole stuff is not going to work. So what you can do, yes, you picked up rightly, I guess. You can make a clone over here, and that is going to, not clone, I would say, like, yeah, you can say it's a clone. The same data will reside over here. If this gets failed, then we will pick up this one, look at service. So now one question comes, if anything happens or if anything gets updated over here, we need to make sure that updates come over here as well. And I know that one question you might ask, that if whenever you are talking about update, what type of update is this? Is this a synchronous update or asynchronous update? I must say, like, as we are saying, like, this is something which is equally important like this relevant service. So we cannot do anything asynchronously. Rather, we have to go with a synchronous update call. Anything, if any agent is going to update this locator service, he should update this locator service as well. When these two locator services gets updated, only then he can return success, is success like kind of thing true. Otherwise, he won't confirm the consumer that I have made it successfully. So this type of approach you can take. And I would prefer, like, if the service calls the locator service, I would not allow probably the locator service to call these things, these database servers. Rather, I would say, like, locator service should give this person only the, database server ID. Like, this is the database server ID where actually you are looking for the key, and he will be taking the responsibility to call the database, sorry, not this one, to call the appropriate database server to fetch the data. So that is kind of dynamic in nature, because we are having more control on this stuff. So that's why it is more beneficial from the traditional usage of sharding, which we do using partition key. But it got some cons as well. It has some cons as well that we discussed, like locator service stuff, and we are not getting rid of entirely dynamic, because we have to maintain this table, and we have to update the information here in the locator service. So that is kind of a thing where we need to put effort, and let's see how we can resolve that thing as well. So for the time being, I think we are done. If you have any comments or if you have any suggestion, please put your comment and suggestions into the comment section. Thank you. Please take care.